Hey, this is Phil Lilley, Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on Lake Taneycomo. Going to do one cast this evening. It's Thursday, the 27th of December. They hadn't run water all day. We got about, at our place, 1 3/4 inches of rain last night, and the water is a little bit off color here, but you go around the corner by Shore Creek and it's even more so. The wind is out of the southwest. It's actually laid down quite a bit here in the last 30 minutes or so. It's been blowing pretty good all day. It got up pretty warm this morning, about 60, but it's back down in the low 50s right now. I'm going to try throwing an 1/8 ounce black brown jig with a brown head, 4-pound line. Reason for the heavy jig and the heavy line 4 pound, is the wind's blowing pretty hard, so it's blowing that way, so I'm going to throw that way, just above the dock, out in the middle of the lake. I'm going to pay attention to the boat and make sure it's not drifting down with the wind, because I don't want to be drifting towards my line or my jig. I want it pretty tight. I'm going to have a hard enough time feeling the bite and keeping my line halfway tight with this wind. You can hear it still gusting pretty good. I had nothing on the first cast. I really didn't get a very good cast at all. I am going to work it down deep. I'm trying to turn my back to the wind when I talk, because I know there's a lot of wind noise in the mic. The wind is a little gusty, so like right now it's laid down really nice. I can feel my jig real good. As some of you know, we've got a couple of browns that we watch quite a bit around the dock and even outside the dock, and we've called them Frank, which is the biggest of the browns, and Frankie, who's a little smaller. They're both males, and they're both very large. The smaller of the two, we think, is around 25 pounds. And Frank, the bigger one, is a lot more than that. It's over 30 pounds, which would be a state record if he was caught. Well, last evening after we did one cast, me and Dwayne went just up here above the dock, out in the boat, throwing jigs. There wasn't any wind, throwing 1/16 ounce jigs with 2-pound line, and we were catching some fish. And all of a sudden I saw who we think is Frankie just off the boat, just under the surface, just kind of cruising around. And we got a couple of casts at him with our jigs. I got one pretty good cast in front of his face, and he just turned and swam away. But that was pretty cool. We, of course, if he's around the dock, we don't fish for him. And then about 100 yards later, we saw another very large brown under the water. just off the boat, and it was the size of Frank or Frankie, or it was down deeper. It was a quick flash. It was not after any of our jigs, but it was after something. And we cast it a couple times in the area that we saw the fish, and we both got bites. And we wish we got it on camera, video, because we were pretty excited. We got that bite and missed a bite. Probably wasn't that big fish, but just the fact that we had seen a very large brown, and then a few seconds later get a bite on a jig in the same area. Yeah, we were pretty pumped. I got out and fly fished here the last hour. I went up below Fall Creek, just below Fall Creek on the opposite side in that flat, and was throwing a scud, a large scud, a 12 gray scud, tied on a 200R hook. And I think I caught 6 or 7 rainbows, 7 rainbows, and one pretty nice one, about an 18-inch rainbow. And that fish, that rainbow, was spitting up scuds. As he was fighting, getting close to the boat. So that's what they're eating up there in that gravel. And I fished up there mainly because the wind wasn't quite as bad there. It was still a little windy, but it was sheltered from the heavy wind. So, and there's usually a place, if it's windy, there's usually a place, the way this lake winds back and forth, you can usually find a place that's out of the wind. That's one nice thing about Taneycomo. We are just, the way the wind is today, it's blowing straight down the lake, so right out of the south. We've got a cold front coming in tonight, and it's supposed to be cooler tomorrow and the next day. Still in the 40s. Well, I'm not getting bit at all here, so. Fishing off the dock's been pretty good, real good this morning. It slowed down this afternoon, but as I was leaving the dock, somebody just caught another rainbow, so not too bad. Well, I'm going in. Thanks for watching, and again, we will see you tomorrow. Just a few more days left in 2018.